Okay, so again, this is only for the people who are leaving tomorrow. It's not for the people who are staying. So the rest of you, go like that. You know, when you've been on retreat, you know, sometimes as you're meditating, you feel, oh, my mind is just so distracted, and I have so many defilements, and but you haven't actually realized how quiet your mind has become while you're here compared to the way it usually is. Yeah? And so therefore, there's a tendency when you leave to think, well, I'll just go back, you know, and do things the way I was always doing them. So you get in the car and you turn on the radio, you head for Starbucks, you know, or alternatively the steakhouse, depending what you've been craving the whole retreat, that we deprive you of here. You know, you get home, you turn on the computer, you turn on the TV, you turn on the stereo, they're all going at the same time. You know, and you feel, okay, I'm back to normal. Yeah, I really caution you against that, because your mind has become very quiet while it's here compared to the way it usually is. And if you go back and just put yourself in sense stimuli overdrive, you're going to freak out, you know. I mean, not freak out, but you're not going to be peaceful and tranquil. You're going to feel quite overwhelmed. You know, similarly, if you go back and you just start talking, it's like, I've got to catch up for this whole month of silence, you know, and you're going to get overwhelmed by all the words, all the, exchange with other people. You don't realize sometimes how much energy we put into putting on a face and creating an identity of who we are so we know how to relate to people. And when you haven't done that for a while, and then you start doing it and you go on overdrive, you just feel really overwhelmed. So I really caution you, when you're leaving, go very slowly, you know. Don't turn on the radio. Don't get to the airport and pick up the magazines and start reading all the billboards and everything, because, you know, it really does your mind in. So really try and keep the thing of sense restraint, you know, where you really restrain what you allow your senses to come in contact with. Yeah, so not looking all over to anything, not, you know, plugging yourself in, listening to everything that's going on. Yeah, not just feeding yourself lots of food and smelling smells and, you know, going to the sauna and the, you know, and doing everything. Because it's, you know, it's too much for your system at this point, okay? I think actually it's too much for our system in general, in society, and that's one reason people feel so stressed, is because they have too much sense stimuli. Yeah, so be quite careful about that. Also, when you get back and you're with your family or whoever you live with, or even if you live alone, when you see your friends, don't feel like you have to tell everybody everything about what happened to you here immediately. Yeah, because remember, they've been having their own experiences for the last month, you know, and they're going to want to tell you about the hot water heater that broke, and the dishwasher that, you know, stopped working, and, you know, and everything that happened to them. So really, you know, rev up your compassion and go in with a mind that cares for others and, you know, and wants to listen to them. But also you can let them know and say to them directly, you know, I've just been in a very quiet environment, so, you know, please excuse me if I, you know, can only talk for a short time, you know, it has nothing to do with you, and it just has to do with me needing a lot of silence at this point. Okay, and I'm sure whoever you live with will, you know, or your friends will understand. And then also, you know, all the experiences you had here, again, don't feel obliged that you have to share them with everybody. These are things that you share with your Dharma teacher, or maybe you discuss about with a few Dharma friends, but you don't go back and with your just general Dharma friends who you aren't very close to, and especially with people who aren't in the Dharma, and then start talking about whatever you experienced in meditation. Because the more you talk about it to people who don't tune in, and who aren't respectful, then that, it's going to become just another story. It's going to become, a conceptual memory, yeah, and the energy behind it gets lost, and then there's also the temptation to create some kind of identity out of it and make it solid, so those things you talk about with your teacher, or, one or two close Dharma friends, or like when we do the go around here, something like that. But just don't talk about everything just widely, because it really dilutes the energy of it. Okay? So, go in with a lot of compassion, and you have a habit now of doing your practice quite consistently, so just keep that habit. And especially if you give yourself enough quiet time and meditation time, at least morning and evening, when you go out, then even if you do wind up talking too much or being in an environment that's too, has too much stimulation, you still have your morning and evening meditation where you can quiet yourself down and come back home. Okay? And so, really, make sure you continue your daily practice. Keep time aside for study. Go to future retreats. You can do the Sravasti Abbey Friends Education Program, or do the retreat from afar, with the rest of us until we finish in March. And so really keep your Dharma practice going, and remember that you have a community here. So don't just kind of leave and say, ciao, see you in a future life sometime, But, please remember that we care for you. And so if there's things we can help with, let us know and stay in touch. Okay?